I want to address the elephant in the room. I put it in the description, and I said about leaving this cult, and there was a person's comment, UGI, I think it was, said it's not a cult. So then I said, okay, cult-like religion, because it's in the vein. It seems like some people like the Smileys, they seem to be a lot more liberal and chill and not quite as much cult-like stuff. But don't get me wrong, the stuff you already described starting to sound kind of cultic already. And this is the liberal versions of this type of religion. When we get into Sunniism, and this is a more extreme, serious, devout version of Islam, can you tell us, is this a cult?
When I left Islam, I had people tell my wife, first of all, let's talk about that. People told my wife, her friends, you have to leave this guy because he is now a non-Muslim and you cannot be married to a non-Muslim and he is going to corrupt your kids. But this is, again, like a cult-like thing that you're mentioning, right? Mm-hmm. Another example of like cult-like thinking or like treatment is that one of my friends told me, this was a good friend of mine, he started crying when I left Islam. He said, I would never have, I never expected that you would ever leave Islam. And I thought, you were going to be Muslim for your whole life. And what really got him is that I created a blog. This is even before I created the YouTube. I just created a blog, abdullahsamir.com. And he's like, because you created a blog on Islam, I'm not going to help you move. He actually volunteered that I didn't even ask him to help me move because he knew I was moving houses. And he's like, well, I'm not going to help you. And I'm like, why? Because you're attacking my religion, right? And so you're my enemy now. And this is sort of this us versus them hostile thinking that you find among Islamists. Islamists are people that they follow Islam politically, right? They consider Islam not just to be a private religion, but like a political movement that needs to be established. And there's Islamic laws, right? For example, killing apostates, for example, chopping off the hands of thieves and stuff like that. So there's laws as part of Islam. The practice of Islam being a cult varies from individual to family a lot. Like my mom is not at all in a cult, at all, 0%. Like she prays sometimes, she doesn't wear hijab, maybe sometimes she covers her hair. She doesn't care about Islamic law. She got a mortgage, which was haram, forbidden. She still did it. I even told her, you should sell the house. This was because I became religious and she wasn't religious. And I'm like, you should sell the house. This is forbidden. You should change your job. She's like, shut up, man.
Did you actually try to convert your parents? I mean, like, you got so serious that you tried? Oh,
and
wow.
A lot of people they cause a lot of conflict in the family when they become religious or they convert, because what they do is they end up creating enemies out of their parents because their parents are not religious and they become religious. And so I did that a bit too. I created a bit of hostility, in my family because I was like pushing them. I'm like, yeah, you have to do this. If you don't do this, you're going to go to hell and you're going to be in trouble and you have to be a good Muslim. You can't have a mortgage. But my mom was just like, yeah, whatever. And at the end of the day, I was like, yeah, it's her choice, and it's my dad's choice. And I was worried my dad was going to go to hell because he was in the wrong sect. And so I did create a bit of conflict in the family when I became so zealous, right? I mean, that's what zealots do. They are fundamentalists or whatever. But that's why I don't necessarily say Islam is a cult, but there are cult-like, The danger in saying cult is because you have 1 billion Muslims in the world today, and it's just too reductionist to say cult. So you have to be careful. But there are cults
it's not one thing, yeah.
Exactly.
That's like some form of fundamentalism that doesn't see the nuance in humanity, just the way the world works. So I'm with you 100%. Let me ask you this, a couple details, if you don't mind giving us this, because it's obvious you're not a Muslim anymore. You can become an expert. You can know everything there is to know about it. Because you're not a Muslim, there's automatically you're out. And even if you were a Muslim, let's say you're a practicing Muslim who's having doubts, it's all about keeping you within that bubble. So as you were leaving, you were pointing out evidences. None of them were like, you know what, this is a great point. I think I'm gonna go with the logic here. No, it's all about, but that's the mindset that cults actually develop. And I see this over and over, whether it's Scientology, Mormonism, Jehovah's Witnesses, Seventh-day Adventist, different versions of Christianity that I've been in communication with. And then there's other cults. You start getting out into weird stuff that are out there. But yeah, this is no different.
Yeah. So basically, I think for what I'm trying to do, But the thing is, I've already proven myself once that I was able to leave Ismailism. So what are the consequences of me leaving Islam? Because I was in that, like I said, I was almost like in a cult. All my friends were friends based on faith. So now what happened? I lost all my friends, most of them. The mistake I made was I thought that because it's obvious to me that this is wrong, I just assumed when I post on Facebook, everybody would be like, yep, that's true. And they're all going to leave Islam, or at least many of them would, but they didn't. I didn't realize like what a strong grip, childhood indoctrination has on people or can have, to the point that even if it's in your face, obvious mistake, they just find a way to kind of stay on the faith. And, there's an interesting similarity in the story of Malcolm X. When he found out that Elijah Muhammad, he had made all of these teenage women pregnant and he wasn't even taking care of the kids or anything. That was like a shock to him because he saw Elijah Muhammad as this man of God that, saw Allah, spoke to God or whatever. And yet now he's seeing like bad behavior from him, something that he himself, Elijah Muhammad, preaches against. And so now he had this major cognitive dissonance. But this was one of the major things that caused him to lose his faith in the Nation of Islam. Eventually, he openly told people what he thought was this was going to be like a bombshell. People will immediately, leave Elijah Muhammad. But what happened was people started making excuses for the guy, saying, but he's still a good guy. Everyone can make mistakes. I don't believe you. You're a liar. And then eventually he was assassinated, obviously by the Nation of Islam because of this step he took. The point is, we are not rational creatures overall. We are more on the side of like emotions and, being part of the religious community. And this guy is like a father figure to them. So people, even if you tell them, they'll have a hard time accepting it, even when you show them the evidence. When people, like moms whose kids are psychopaths, they refuse to believe this guy just killed like 100 people. I can't believe this is my kid. No way. Like, look, here's a video of him doing it. No, I can't. Like, we humans are so weird. We evolved such strange abilities to have cognitive dissonance, and for whatever reason, it was beneficial to us in our ancestral history, but it doesn't lead to truth always. That's the problem. Our truth systems are broken,